Hey guys, I know it's been a minute since I have done a video. I was supposed to do one last weekend, but things were kind of crazy in my life, so I never got the video out. I actually had made the video like 2 or 3 times, kept deleting it because I kept slipping up when I said some names that I shouldn't have said on here. So here I am remaking the video once again. Anyways, so today's Friday, and I had posted about signs and symbols from loved ones in heaven, and I said it's been 4 weeks now that I've been asking people, have you been seeing a lot of extra signs and symbols these last few weeks? Because I have had them coming out of the yin yang. So I just was kind of doing a little survey to see if other people were experiencing all the signs and symbols like I was, because I didn't know if it was just pertaining to my life or everybody's life at the same time. So I just kind of do little surveys like that, see where I stand. But the crazy thing is that a lot of people don't know this, but I'm going through this court issue that has been very overwhelming. I can't go into detail because of the legal reasons. And no, I did not commit a crime. I didn't steal a car or rob a bank, I promise. But it's just been a very trying issue and overwhelming, and had me in a state of mind where I was just like, is this ever going to end? Like, seriously, is this shit ever going to come to an end? I'm just so done with this, you know? If you guys know me, you know that I'm the type of person that will help anybody out if I can. I try to in some way, shape, or form. I can't always do that because I'm not rich. If I was, you guys would all get a percentage, I guarantee it. But anyways, so I had been very stressed out and overwhelmed. I actually had COVID for the first time back in July, like right after the 4th of July maybe, for the first time. I'm not vaccinated, and I can't get vaccinated technically because of my sickness. So from my illness, I can't get vaccinated. It might do more harm than good. So I finally had COVID. For 2 days I was down, but not with a cold. I had more like stomach flu issues. It was crazy. But anyways, so I got over that, and then the next thing you know is here's this court stuff. So it's been like one thing after another, after another, after another. And you know, I've got so many irons in the fire, so to speak. And if anybody knows me outside of the bar, outside of this Facebook or whatever, you know that I'm a good-hearted person. I'm nice to everybody. Even people who have been so shitty to me, I still will be like, hi, you know, for the most part, I'll say hi or how have you been? You know, and there's a lot of people that has burnt those bridges with me numerous times throughout my life, and I'm still nice to them because that's just who I am. Some people hold grudges for life. I choose not to, because I know that when you hold grudges, it just tends to make shit in your own mind worse. But anyways, so going through this court proceeding, I feel like it's a test in a sense, but you know, for 6 years of my life, almost 7, I put my life on hold for someone I cared about, for someone I made a promise to. And during that time, I had to quit working behind the bar. And I used to work a lot of hours when we first took over that bar, a lot. And I had to stop working behind the bar because of the situation. It was took a lot of my attention. I missed out on my family events and all this stuff, okay? Missed out a lot on my family. Things I should be doing with my family, I would get calls and have to be with this other person. I mean, it took a lot of my life for the last 6 or 7 years. And now I'm in this court issue with some silly stuff that doesn't make sense, you know. But the one thing I do know is that I upheld my end of the bargain. I can't really go into detail because of legality reasons, but I upheld my promise to this person, and I was there to the very last day. And I thought when this last day come, I could just move on with my life and start doing what I'm supposed to be doing, especially taking care of myself and getting all my health stuff taken care of that I've put on the back burner because of all this court stuff and because of the situation I was in. And so I've not followed through with any of my medical stuff right now, and that is way past due. So I know I'll be in Indy here probably in the next couple weeks doing a lot of testing. So anyways, so I'm going through this court thing. I'm overwhelmed. I'm stressed out. And I'm like, dear God, I can't do this. So I probably told you guys about the time I was standing out in the driveway and it was nighttime, and I just kind of was looking at the stars and admiring how bright the stars were, and it was really cool. And I was overwhelmed, and I was just like asking God, I'm like, listen, God, this shit's got to stop. I can't take no more. My plate is runneth over. Like it's on the floor, dripping on the floor. That's how runneth over it is. And I turned around and started to walk in, and I thought, I forgot to thank God for all the awesome things in my life, for the good things I do have in my life. So I turned around, and I was like, thank you, God, for everything you've given me. I just need something to know that everything's going to be okay. And at that moment, a shooting star went across the sky. So take that as a coincidence, or take that as I was being acknowledged by something, the divine or whatever. So from that day on, I started getting signs and symbols like crazy. I've lost so many people in my life that were friends or family or whatever. And each person almost has their own little symbol or sign. And I don't always see everybody's all the time. But for the last few weeks, I have seen every damn sign possible to freaking man. And I'm not lying when I say that. So I feel like all my loved ones in heaven, or my guides or whatever, my ancestors, my family, whatever, are coming out of the woodwork. So I know, and I've told you guys before, that sometimes when I'm having a stressful day or something stressing me out, like cardinals will fly right in front of my car, or they'll land beside me, and I can be at different places in Jay County or even out of town, and the cardinal will be right there. That tells me to come back down to earth, Charity, quit stressing, everything's going to be fine. So it wasn't just the cardinals I saw this time. So my elderly friend that passed away, all in one day, all in one freaking day, his brother calls. I talked to him on the phone. His other brother shows up at the bar. His stepdaughter calls me. His best friend, I talked to him. It's just crazy. I'm like, okay, my elderly friend is sending me signs, because why are all these people who were in his life coming out of the woodwork right now? It was nuts. Not only that is, about 10 years ago, I had a friend, and I'm going to call him Kay because I don't want to mention his name. He has family and stuff in town. Kay, he was like a big teddy bear. He was like a uncle to my children. All of us would get together and go camping and fishing and cooking out, and just all kinds of fun stuff. They have a golf cart out there, and they would let my little kids drive the golf cart, and they were so crazy of old biker guys. They would jump in the golf cart with my kids, who are like 6, and let them drive them around. And believe me, my kids couldn't drive that good anyways, but they didn't care. They're just old teddy bear guys. So it was weird, because me and my daughter had been talking about Kay for a few weeks. And the weird thing was, she was talking about how Kay would spoil her with spicy ketchup, because she loved spicy ketchup as a kid. And he would literally, while I was at work, drop off spicy ketchup bottles, and they would spell out he'd put on the lid, he'd write each letter of her name on the lid. So there'd be Lydia. So it'd be 5 bottles of ketchup, and they'd have her initials on them, meaning that was her stash of spicy ketchup. Nobody else's but Lydia's. So Kay would do that because he just loved her to death. So Kay passed away 10 years ago, and we all kind of still hung out a little bit together, but the clan that we used to run with, and we kind of just went our own ways, because life, of course, and kids growing up and this and that. But we had been talking about Kay a lot, and reminiscing, me and my daughter Lydia, and we were just laughing, and she's like, Mom, I really miss that guy, because he was so good to me. He treated me like I was his niece, or like he was family or something. And she's like, he spoiled the hell out of us. And he did. He loved my kids. Matter of fact, he bought me and my kids a dog from a pit bull from the shelter in Marion as a gift, because my kids wanted a dog. And he's like, Mom, the kids need a dog. So he handed me the money to go get this dog. And I'm like, I can't take that. He's like, it's a Christmas present or whatever. So that dog lived with us for like 13 years, he just was like that. Just a big old teddy bear. Loved him to death. So we had reminisced about Kay, and I'm sitting there in the bar, and this is on the same day that my elderly friend's family had called me all day long. So we're sitting in the bar, and all of a sudden the back door comes open, and I'm looking, I'm like, holy shit, that's Kay's brother coming in. What the heck is going on? He don't frequent our bar. He don't hang out in there. Okay. Back in the day, we all hung out in there, but as we've gotten older, we, don't hang out in the bar and party on the weekends like we used to. So Kay's brother comes strolling in, and I'm like, what the hell? I'm hugging him saying, oh, I love you. I miss you. Where have you been? How have you been? And he's like, well, I just don't go to the bars anymore and blah, blah, blah. Because I haven't actually had a good conversation with him for about 5 years. It's been that long. And in my head, I'm like, what the is happening here? So Kay, been gone 10 years, literally sends his brother to me. I mean, can it get no more physical and a symbol and sign, than him being right there, right in front of me. It's nuts. It's crazy because he don't hang out in there at all. And I'm like, Kay is trying to send me a sign that everything's going to be okay, because why else would his brother be here, and he came in to talk to me, and he was talking about another friend of ours, and we started reminiscing about all of us camping again and all this stuff, and how one of my friends sent me live Maine lobster from Maine for my birthday, and we all had a cookout down there. I mean, it was nuts. Me and him were actually reminiscing about the same things me and my daughter had just talked about the night before and a few days prior. So it was crazy. If that wasn't a sign, I don't know what was. But anyways, so there was a sign. So all these signs, I mean, it's just nuts. There was more than that. I can't even count them all. That's how nuts it is. But so yesterday I'm getting in my car and I'm pulling out to go to work. I mean, there's so many in between that. Dimes are not my thing. I don't find money from loved ones, okay? But I had been at a friend's house up north, and she told me that she finds dimes all the time. So I come home, I think it was that same day or the very next day, and I open up my garage door to come into the house, and there was a dime right there in the middle of my floor, right as soon as I open up the door. It's right where, so I couldn't miss it. I even videoed it and sent it to her to show her I was not bullshitting. So the crazy thing is, Josh, a couple days later, was out here by the fountain to give our dog, we have a well, and our dog loves that well water, so we let it run for him and let him drink out of it. He found a dime beside that well after I told him my story about the dime. So yesterday, I think it was, I went to go into the bathroom, and lo and behold, right as I opened the bathroom door, there's a dime. I never get dimes. Granted, the person that I'm friends with up north, loved one, sends them dimes, and they told me that story. Now I'm seeing dimes everywhere, but her loved one that's in heaven, I knew them personally. But that's what he sends her. So now I am finding dimes every freaking where, just out of the blue, in weird places, weird freaking places. Places that I'm like, how could a dime get there? Okay. So that happened. Whew. And then I'm talking to Lydia out here in the driveway, and I'm like, Lydia, I was thinking in my head, I did this video twice. I did it a third time, and because I said names I shouldn't have probably said, and because I kind of ranted a little bit, and I don't need to rant, because shit's just going to go as it goes, and take it for what it is, whatever. But I thought in my head when she was getting ready to leave, I thought, man, I should just upload that video, and I ended up taking it down because I just didn't feel comfortable. I thought, no, I need to upload that video. And out of nowhere flies a red cardinal in between her and I through the driveway, or right behind her head or whatever, through the driveway. And I'm like, oh my God, they're telling me to do this signs and symbol video. Why else would a red cardinal? I don't have cardinals out here at my house, hardly ever, unless I'm stressed out, which is wild. So there was another sign or symbol. It's crazy. Then yesterday, before I went to work, I'm pulling out of the driveway, and I don't have dragonflies out at my house. I have no water. I have nothing. I don't ever see dragonflies out here. I mean, maybe once or twice in the 8 years I've lived here. So I'm in my car, and I noticed there is this giant, I'm talking huge, it looked like a tiger-striped dragonfly. And this dragonfly is hovering about 7 or 8 inches from my windshield. And I'm like, oh my God, what the hell, So I started backing out. So the thing started following me. And I turn, and it's following still, and then all of a sudden it zips off. I'm like, that's wild, because a dragonfly does stand for someone I know. But I never hardly see them, Never hardly see the dragonflies anywhere. So I'm like, that's wild. And right as I'm pulling to the edge of my drive to pull out, a monarch butterfly goes flying right past my hood of my car. I'm like, what the hell is happening here? Like every sign and symbol that represents a loved one in heaven has been thrown my way over these last few weeks. So I started to do this video yesterday. I thought I'm going to redo this video. I'm going to make it as I'm talking and like telling you guys or talking about this same stuff right here. I'm like, well, you know, I just want to make this video because I feel like maybe other people are seeing signs and symbols out the yin yang. Me, I'm seeing every sign and symbol possible. My God. And I know this. I know to pay attention to that stuff. But when you're in a funk or a stressed out situation, sometimes you overlook those little things and you shouldn't be. All of a sudden, a cardinal lands in my yard. And I'm like, what the heck? And I even turned the camera to show everybody. Look, there is a cardinal in my yard right now as I'm getting ready to say goodbye on this video. And I'm like, this is nuts. This is exactly what I'm talking about. They're letting me know, yes, you should upload the video. Which I might post that little section of the video. I don't want to post the whole one. I'll post a section just so you can see. It's kind of hard to tell with my phone because I tried to zoom in on him because he was out far. So there's a cardinal. So today I go to work. I'm feeling great. I don't know why. I think I got out of my funk. I think I cleared my head. And now I know I'm back in the spiritual situation I should be in. Not down this negative ass path that this person is trying to put all of us on in court. So I'm like, yes, I'm back to myself. I feel good. My level of energy is up, up, up. And I go to pull out to leave the bar and I stop in the alley and I'm like, shoot, I forgot my drink in there. Not a mixed drink either, people, my coffee. So I run back in the bar and right before I get to the back door of the bar, a hummingbird flies right in front of my face. Like right between me and the door. And I'm like, and the door's only like 2 feet from me. I'm like, what the hell? And it just flies up from wherever it was at, up right through my face. Like I could not miss it. It was like right here. I'm like, there's no flowers down here. Where the hell did that thing come from? I have never seen a hummingbird around the bar. And we do not have syrup out for them there. So I'm like, here's another sign. Hummingbirds remind me of my grandma. I actually have hummingbirds on my arm for her. Because she used to have a hummingbird feeder outside her window and she was a very religious woman. And she used to, me and her, because she was raised Catholic, grew up Catholic, even taught Catholicism. I was raised Catholic. I stopped going when I was about 17 because I was a teenage mom and I just felt like I was, not that they shunned me, in my own brain from what I'd been taught, I thought, no, I can't go here because I sinned. Now that I'm older and I realize religion is just a thing and God don't hate people like that and does not, that's all doings of churches and man-made bullshit. So anyways, my grandma I used to ask questions. I was the question asker. I'd be like, Grandma, since we're going to talk religion here, I want to know where the dinosaurs fit in the Bible. And she's like, that's a good question. And she's like, it really doesn't talk about that in there, does it? So, I mean, I was always the one who had the religious questions, always, even until adulthood, even until before she got sick and everything. I mean, you can ask, I mean, if she was here right now, she'd say yes. She was the inquisitive one, always asking questions. Well, where do the cavemen fit in the Bible? You know, I was the one doing that since I was young. Yeah. But so what the crazy thing is that hummingbirds represent her. And I have like 3 or 4. And of course, you guys see my little video of me holding one. They're here all the time. And I do have feeders for them. So it's not like a sign or symbol, but it's fun to watch them because the one that I saved still comes to my head in front of my hat and chirps at me. He'll do to me like, hey, I'm here. And then he'll swoop over to get his drink. Or he'll chirp at my dog and fan his tail out because he doesn't like my dog because my dog's the one that knocked him out of the air. So, but I seen that hummingbird at work fly right in between me as I was getting ready to open the door. And I even went in and said, girls, a hummingbird just flew right in front of my face as I was getting ready to open this back door. And where the hell did it come from? So all these signs and symbols I'm seeing, I know in my heart of hearts that everything is going to be okay. No matter which way this court decision goes or which way this stuff goes. But what I do want people to know is pay attention to those because for some reason, it gives you this sense of peace when you notice something that reminds you of your family or your loved ones in heaven. It gives you this overwhelming feeling, memories. You start thinking about memories with that person. Or if you hear a song on the radio, all of a sudden you're like, oh, I remember this song, me and so-and-so used to dance to it. Those are things that you need. Them are memories, cherished memories you need to keep really close to your heart and talk about with your family. Remember, talk about your mom and dad, talk about the loved one you lost, because people need to hear that. Because so many people get stuck in this thing of guilt. And what if I could have just seen him one last time, or I wish I would have seen him just one last time before they passed. So they get in this funk and they carry this burden and this guilt, and our families do not want us to do that. So share those cherished memories, because when you're living, they are living through you. Get that? They are living through you. And oh my God, there is a freaking cardinal again on the tree. I can't make this shit up, people. This is crazy. Anyway, so I'm doing the video and there's the cardinal again. All right, we got you. Anyways, so I'm just saying, pay attention to the signs and symbols, because they do have meaning for you, whether it's making you remember your family, or if you're having a bad day and they show up out of the clear blue sky, So pay attention to those things, because they do help. They do help have inner peace. They do give you those funny, cherished memories with your loved ones. They do make you feel take the weight off your shoulders, so to speak, when you're in a situation that stresses you the hell out. So pay attention. Also, I had talked about, I don't know if I posted on Facebook or not, but I found some ancestors. And little did I know that these ancestors actually settled here in Jay County, over by Baalbek area. The crazy thing is, we never knew they were from here, or never knew that they had moved here and lived here. The crazy thing is, they were Quakers. They were Quakers. And I don't know much about the Quaker religion, and I'm not going to go into detail about that. But one thing I do know that Quakers do say, or back then they did say, was that God lives within all of us. God in the light is right here inside of us. So I don't know if I carried that shit down my genome, my DNA. I don't know where. I've always thought that God is within all of us, that we are all connected to God, or the divine, or whatever you guys call him or her. But we're all connected. And I've always said that since day one, not knowing where I come up with this information at, but I've always said that you don't have to go to a brick and mortar church to believe in God or the divine or whatever. You don't have to, because it's all right here. Okay? So it seems very odd that I found my ancestors, like my 5th and 6th great grandpa and grandma, and they were Quakers who settled over by Baalbek, who helped with the Underground Railroad, and I found their darn tombstones over there in a Quaker cemetery. I'm like, what the shit? I'm like, this is nuts. This is so nuts, because we didn't know this information. We had no clue about this information. The last thing we knew was they lived in another state. We did not realize they migrated here on the Quaker trace. And 2 weeks ago, or a week ago, I finally got to go out there and see their tombstones. And I'm like, this is nuts. This is my 6th great grandparent. And they're here, right here, 10 minutes from my house. How wild. Anyways, so that's my video for today, I guess. But what I do know is, when it comes to ancestors or your family and your bloodline, we do carry that in our DNA. How could we not? If you can take someone's DNA profile and find out that they had an 8th grandparent who was from Egypt, then what makes you think we do not carry some of our ancestors' memories with us through our blood, through DNA? How can we not? If they can go back and see where we originally came from, what makes you think we're not carrying some of those DNA memories or DNA whatever? You know what I'm saying? I don't know much about that DNA stuff, but I'm just saying, how do you know we're not carrying? Because we carry their traits down the line. We carry genetics down the line. How do you know we're not carrying some of the memory genetics or some of the spiritual genetics from our ancestors too, okay? So that's just what I'm saying. So watch for the signs and symbols. Pay attention to them, and when they come, because if you're having a very depressed day and there's a butterfly and you never see butterflies, but butterflies represent your mom, there's a reason that butterfly's there. So pay attention, because I'm telling you what, whatever's been going on in my life for 4 weeks now, I have had signs out the freaking yin yang. Like from every loved one that I've ever lost, there's something. So I know I'm going to be okay. And I know now not to stray from my path of spirituality and my beliefs, because I even have flaws, people. Sometimes I let stress overrule my life, and I don't mean to. I'm just human, and I don't mean to, but I do. And I have to get back to reality sometimes and realize, you know what? This day too shall pass, and my good stuff outweighs my bad. So focus on the good and move that bad shit out of your mind and just go with the flow. And that's what I'm doing. I decided that's what the hell I'm doing. I'm not going to let no person stress me out because of their greed. I'm not going to let no person stress me out because of their lies. And I'm not going to let no person stress me out when they were not welcome. They were not welcome and had nothing to do with this, my friend, for 6 years. So, my rant is over too. So I'm moving on. All right, guys, I'll probably upload a video. I thought about taking you guys out there so you can see my ancestors. The only reason is because there's a really cool story behind their passing, kind of. It's like not a cool story, but it's very something you don't see nowadays. Yeah, so there we go. Believe, 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 and always believe in yourself. And make sure you pay attention to those signs and symbols. And yes, Charity, you too. All right, love y'all. Happy Friday, by the way. Happy Friday. Can't wait. Hopefully it's a clear sky tonight, and I'm going to lay out with the fire burning and watch the stars. I know, I'm weird like that. It's the little things that make me happy. Love y'all. Bye.